All rise. Veuillez vous lever.
Zukwalondo, lendangati dandangati popokodoteti gino atondani awe. Zukwaduti.
Good morning, everyone.
Mbibara zukwe. Mbiye mbitene nzoni kango na zukwe akege. Na yati fini lokpale wala aferso. Tongaso mbiye ke wunda na greffier titene lodi teneti lasso. Mbibara la kwe sendo na be Afrika ti useni avec lokpale wala aferso a procureur na Alfred Yekatom na Patrice-Edouard Ngaissona numero ni ake ICC 0114-0118 yeke na fango bangati polele tungaso mbeke wunda na azkwa gete na la fatericha la itonani na asu procureur.
Please.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. The former child soldiers are represented by myself, Dmitry, Supreme Counsel at the Office of Public Counsel for Victims.
Thank you. And now we turn to the defense. Ms. Dmitry.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, my colleagues. Mr. Yekatom this morning is represented by Mr. Tom Hannis, Associate Counsel, to my left. Ms. Sabrine Beissa, Case Manager, behind me. We have in the public gallery Ms. Lena Cazier, Legal Assistant, Ms. Wilhelmina Whittingham, and in the course of the week, I hope I'll get a chance to introduce the other team members of Mr. Yekatom, and there's myself, Ms. Milan Dimitri, Lead Counsel.
Thank you. Mr. Knops. Microphone, please, Mr. Knops.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honors. Good morning, colleagues. The defendant, Mr. Ngaissona, is today represented by my Associate Counsel, Mr. Richard Omesi Landry Namkemai, new co-counsel. On my left side, Ms. Sarah Pedroso, Legal Assistant. Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Omise. You are new to the court, and we welcome you here in the courtroom. And we have also to introduce the judges, the bench for this case. To my right is Judge Péter Kovács. To my left is Judge Chang-ho Chung, and I'm Judge Bertram Schmitt. For the information of the public, the Chamber notes that several restrictions apply to today's hearing in light, as we all know, of the COVID-19 pandemic. In particular, the participants, parties registry and Chambers staff appear only with a limited team to reduce the risks, but this is, of course, self-explanatory. And additionally, several measures are being taken to ensure appropriate distancing in the courtroom. Short information on schedule and publicity. Pursuant to the information provided by the registry, in consultation with the crisis management team, the Chamber is glad to announce that the hearings can be held pursuant to the normal hearing schedule. Accordingly, the opening statements will be heard in 3 sessions, normally from 9:30 to 11, 11:30 to 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 3:30. When I say normally, the parties and participants are aware that we might have perhaps an earlier break today. Mr. Knops, you know, perhaps we will indicate when you have to leave. In light of the time granted to the participants and parties to make their respective presentations, the Chamber anticipates that the opening statements will be finished on Thursday, 11th February, and the Ngaissona defense is assured that they can have their presentation on Thursday, not earlier. The Chamber notes that this hearing is held in open session unless a request to do otherwise is made by the participants or the registry. Before the charges are read and we hear the opening statements, I would like to briefly recall, really briefly, the background of this case. On 30th May 2014, the government of the Central African Republic referred to the prosecution of the court the situation in its territory since 1st August 2012, the so-called CAR 2 situation. At the request of the prosecution, Pretrial Chamber 2 issued warrants of arrest against Mr. Alfred Yekatom and Mr. Patrice-Edouard Ngaissona on 11th November 2018 and 7th December 2018, respectively. Mr. Yekatom was transferred to the court on 17th November 2018. Mr. Ngaissona was transferred to the court on 23rd January 2019. The charges brought by the prosecution against the two accused were confirmed, in part, by Pretrial Chamber 2 on 11th December 2019. In accordance with Article 64, paragraph 8a of the statute, the charges will now be read to the accused. The accused will then be afforded the opportunity to make an admission of guilt or plead not guilty. The court officer will read extracts of the confirmed charges as instructed in the initial directions on the conduct of the proceedings. Due to the public nature of this hearing, these extracts are based on the public redacted version of the decision on confirmation of charges. Counsel, I trust that you have no objections to this approach. Mr. van der Poeje, is there a problem with that?
None, Mr. President.
No. Ms. Dimitri?
No objection, Mr. President.
Mr. Knops?
No objection, Mr. President. Thank you.
The Chamber stresses in this context that these redacted portions are only redacted from the public, of course. The accused and their respective defense teams are fully aware of the details behind these redactions by virtue of the confidential decision. They have received the unredacted version of the confirmation decision in French, a language they fully understand. This is correct, Ms. Dimitri?
It's correct, Mr. President.
Mr. Knops?
That is correct, Mr. President.
Then we can proceed to the reading of the charges. Court officer, please proceed.
Charges. Alfred Yekatom, a national of the Central African Republic, born on 23 January 1975 in Bimbo, the Central African Republic, also known as Alfred Saragba, Rombot, Rambo, Rambot, Rombot, Rombot, Rombo, or Romboth, is criminally responsible for the war crimes of 1. Directing attacks against the civilian population in Bangui, including Katyn and the Boyne Market, starting on 5 December 2013, on the basis of the conduct pertaining to counts 2 to 6 and 8. 2. Mora, 4a, the killing of between 5 and 13 persons, redacted, at the Boyne Market for Muslim persons in Katyn, and redacted, at the Boyne Market in the context of the attack on Bangui, including Katyn and Boyne on 5 December 2013. B. Redacted, at the Yambara school base, redacted. C. the killing of Deputy Mayor Saleh on or about 28 February 2014 in Mbaiki, in the context of the anti-Balaka's advance through and takeover of villages along the PK9 and Mbaiki axis, including Sekia, Ndangala, Vimon, Kapu, Bosongo, Pisa, and Mbaiki. Count 27. 3. Displacement. 4. A. The dislocation of nearly all Muslim persons residing in Katin and Boyne to PK5, a predominantly Muslim neighborhood in Bangi, other parts of the Central African Republic, or neighboring countries. Starting from 5 December 2013, in the context of the attack on Bangi, including Katin and Boyne on 5 December 2013. Count 5. B. The dislocation of the majority of the Muslim population from their towns and villages between on or about 10 January 2014 and or about 6 February 2014, in the context of the anti-Balaka's advance through and takeover of villages along the PK9 and Mbaiki axis, including Sekia, Ndangala, Vimon, Kapu, Bosongo, Pisa, and Mbaiki. Count 25. 4. Directing an attack against a building dedicated to religion for the destruction of the Boyne Mosque by 20 December 2013 at the latest. Count 6. 5. Cruel treatment for the redacted, the Yambwara school base redacted. Count 13. 6. Torture for the redacted, the Yambara school base redacted. Count 13. 7. Conscription, enlistment and use of children under the age of 15 years to participate actively in hostilities, for the conscription and or enlistment of children into his group at various locations, including, redacted, at the assignment of a variety of tasks to them, such as, inter alia, participating in hostilities, including the 5 December 2013 attack, between at least December 2013 and August 2014. Count 29. All committed in the context of and associated with an armed conflict not of an international character, ongoing in the territory of the Central African Republic from September 2013 until at least December 2014, between the Seleka and the Anti-Balaka, including Yekatom's group. Yekatom is also criminally responsible for the crimes against humanity of 1. Murder. A. The killing of between 5 and 13 persons, redacted, at the Boyne market for Muslim persons in Katin, and redacted, at the Boyne market in the context of the attack on Bangi, including Katin and Boyne on 5 December 2013. Count 2. B. Redacted, at the Yambara school base. Count 15. C. The killing of Deputy Mayor Saleh on or about 28 February 2014 in Mbaiki, in the context of the anti-Balaka's advance through and takeover of villages along the PK9 and Mbaiki axis, including Sekia, Ndangala, Vimon, Kapu, Bosongo, Pisa, and Mbaiki. Count 26. 2. Forcible transfer and deportation. 4. A. Dislocation of nearly all Muslim persons residing in Katin and Boyne to PK5, and predominantly Muslim neighborhood in Bangi, other parts of the Central African Republic, or neighboring countries, starting from 5 December 2013, in the context of the attack on Bangi, including cutting and bowing on 5 December 2013, count 4. B. The dislocation of the majority of the Muslim population from their towns and villages between on or about 10 January 2014 and or about 6 February 2014 in the context of the anti-Balaka's advance through and takeover of villages along the PK9 and Baiki axis, including Sekia, Ndangala, Bimon, Kapu, Bosongo, Pisa, and Baiki. Count 24. 3. Other inhumane acts. For the redacted, the Yambara school base, redacted, count 11. 4. Torture. For the redacted, Yambara school base, redacted, count 12. 5. Imprisonment and other forms of severe deprivation of physical liberty. Or the redacted, the Yambara school base, redacted, count 14. 6. Persecution. For the severe deprivation of the fundamental rights of persons in Bangui, including Katin, Boeing, and Yambara school base, and the villages along the PK9 and Mbaki axis, by targeting them on the basis of political, ethnic, and religious grounds, by virtue of the conduct pertaining to counts